Hey, welcome to episode 4. Today is part 3 of our 5-part series, Searching for Off-Grid Property.
We're going to, in this video, discover the two states of Arizona and Florida. Hey there, my name is Doug.
Hi, I'm Keri. Welcome to our channel. Today we're going to look at Arizona and Florida. So we'll start with Arizona, and we actually have kind of narrowed it down in Arizona to a particular county called Cochise County, and they are one of the most lenient counties in the state of Arizona as far as building codes and things like that.
Yeah, Arizona in general is a dry state. It's mostly desert. It does have a mountainous region, but the grow zone is typically from 8 to, I even think they have 11 there in the Phoenix area. That might be due to all the asphalt that's there. But Cochise County typically is 8B, and this enables you to grow a vast amount of things determined only by how well you irrigate. Otherwise, it remains a desert.
Yeah, exactly. And some of the things you're going to want to consider that we're taking a look at are the natural disasters that we could be facing if we were to buy property in Arizona, really anywhere in Arizona. And those natural disasters include things like wildfires, flash flooding, dust storms, and of course, drought.
Yeah, right now it is 8 to 12 hours from where we live here in Denver. Pretty long drive considering. However, from Denver, it is basically a straight southward highway 25 all the way down.
Yeah, I think really for that drive, we would only really have to go over one pass. That's kind of as we go from Colorado into New Mexico. So that's something to take into consideration. As far as natural resources go for the state of Arizona and Cochise County in particular are obviously sun, because Arizona gets a ton of sun, and that can absolutely be used as a natural resource for off-grid property. They have a very, very long grow season, which we like the idea of that.
I think it's 222 days of growing, where as opposed to Colorado and our 150 days of growing, that gives us roughly 72 extra days for growing those tomatoes and chili peppers.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's another 3 months. The other thing about natural resources within Arizona is they do have a lot of minerals. The dirt is comprised of sand and clay, and of course there are trees in the mountain areas, but not in the lower areas of Cochise County. They do get monsoon rains, which are rains that come in the middle to late part of summer, and it's the monsoon season, and for things like rainwater collecting, that can be pretty awesome. You can get your rain for the year and have everything you need for water. So we do like that idea. I think political affiliation, we'll let Doug speak to that.
It's a Republican state for now. They have pretty lenient gun laws and property rights, pretty much uphold the Constitution, which is something that we all agree with. That should be standard for every state in the country. However, we all know that only a few participate in the Constitution these days. But yes, it's a Republican state for now, and that's very appeasing to us.
So as far as the state's taxes and affordability and things like that, the state of Arizona is ranked number 36 out of the 50 states. 1 is going to be the cheapest state to live in. 50 is going to be the most expensive, and I was kind of actually surprised, but Arizona used to be a lot more affordable, but they are starting to get more expensive unless you go out into some of the rural areas, which is what we would be looking at.
One of the interesting things I found while visiting Arizona, we flew into Phoenix, and it was like Night of the Living Dead. Nobody was on the streets whatsoever. It was a big city, and we seriously saw no one when we were walking downtown and stuff like that. But the good thing about Cochise County is its proximity to the city of Tucson, which is like 2 hours away, maybe a little less. And there's a couple other small towns around Cochise in which we could supply. That's just something to consider, an airport being nearby.
We're keeping Arizona on the list along with Idaho, and as we go along and do our evaluation and finally share with you which state we end up buying property in, we'll definitely keep you posted on that. So the next state we're going to look at is Florida. So Florida is also really appealing to us because of the climate. It is, however, completely opposite of Arizona, where it is really, really humid, probably more than we even realize living in Colorado, which is really dry too. So moving to Florida, we'd need to consider the humidity because we're not used to that at all. I'm sure we'd adjust, but it's just something that would be different for us.
Trying to figure out the bikini I'd wear living in Florida. The humidity there, it's basically a big peninsula sticking out, surrounded by 3 great bodies of water. And the growing there is 8. It starts at 8 and goes up probably to 12 to the southern tip down there where the Keys are. But you have the Everglades and everything like this. So finding property around there, I kind of did some research, and I did find some counties that are very good on tiny houses. Let's get back to the grow zone. You can grow all sorts of tropicals, citrus fruit, all that stuff. You're going to have some varieties of cherries and some stone fruits that can grow there, but it's just lush, completely lush compared to the other states that we've visited.
So yeah, Florida does definitely get natural disasters just like any of the other states. Some of the ones that we would be dealing with if we live there would be things like hurricanes, tropical storms, flooding, flash flooding, tornadoes, and you even have to think about tsunamis if you're living close to the coast, because I'm sure the risk is small, but it is definitely still there. So as Doug mentioned, their grow zone is 8 to 11, which of course is really appealing to us. So as far as proximity to our current address, like we mentioned in another video, we live in the Denver metro area. So getting to Florida, if we can take a plane, that's great. But if we end up needing to drive, it's a good solid 25 to 27 hours for us by car. And that may actually rule Florida out, because that's a pretty big deal to us. If we're going to keep our full-time jobs and work on this property on the weekends and when we have time off at the same time, it's going to be really difficult for us. So Florida at this point, because of the drive, would probably be ruled out, but we need to do a little bit more exploring. The other thing that we really like about Florida are the natural resources that are available.
Yeah, obviously water. You're not going to have a problem collecting water. It rains there like monsoon almost every day. The sunshine is there, so solar power is going to be an option. You have the natural resources of wood, albeit as softwood, but you could probably have hardwood trees there also to build a house out of. Fishing in the ocean, obviously, would be an option for getting food. The other thing I'd like to talk about is their building codes there. Building codes are crazy. Like, to build a shack, you would need 30 permits just to build a 200 square foot shed.
Yeah, so that's definitely important, those laws around building codes. The other piece that we actually do like about Florida is their political affiliation right now. As we've all seen during the COVID crisis, they've had a governor that has managed things really well. Traditionally, Florida is, I think, actually more purple than red, but it's definitely mixed. This last election, I believe they voted Republican, obviously.
And it's amazing because it's like, I believe it's the most populated state in all the 50 states. But it's amazing that a big percentage of the occupants in Florida come from New York, which is a Democratic state. So it's almost like they're like, I've had enough of this stuff and we're going to go down there and switch our political affiliation all of a sudden. But DeSantis is doing a great job down there. I see he's not letting the president bully him around and stuff like that, which is a good thing to see. Along
those same lines as just the taxes and affordability in Florida, It's a very tax-friendly state, I think, especially for seniors, which of course doesn't apply to us quite yet, but will someday. So that's important. They are ranked 32 out of the 50 states, with 1 being the least expensive state to live in and 50 being the most expensive. So 32 isn't bad. It's a little bit better than Arizona and where we're at here in Colorado. But yeah, that's definitely something to think about, is the affordability and things like that. So it looks like we can get property in Florida for relatively inexpensively, as long as we're willing to kind of go out into those rural areas.
And they don't have an income tax, so.
Right, that's another consideration for sure. So yeah, that's our evaluation on Arizona and Florida. Hopefully that was helpful for you and you got some info out of it. We are going to keep both those on our list, although Florida is probably below Arizona because of that drive time for us of 25 plus hours.
And the building permits.
Yeah, and the building codes and things like that. We don't want to get stuck in something that is going to be too difficult or expensive to build on. So we appreciate you watching today. On our next episode, it's going to be part 4 of our 5-part series of searching for off-grid property. And during that episode, we're going to evaluate Texas and Arkansas. So stay tuned for that.
And we'll see you.
Yeah, see you later. Thanks for tuning in.